Insurance adjusters have a script designed to pay you as little as possible after a car accident. But what if you get to flip that script on them? There are 10 questions that they hope you never ask because the answers to those questions will expose their lowball tactics, hidden policies, and even evidence that they don't want you to see. I'm Peter Jaraysi, a personal injury attorney who's handled thousands of claims, and I've seen plenty of people use these questions to get a settlement higher than they could have ever imagined. In this video, I will reveal all 10 questions and how to utilize them to maximize your settlement. All right, question number 1. Who recorded my statement and can I get a copy? Now, here's why they hate this question. Insurance adjusters like to take things out of context and make things look bad for you. They'll twist your words and selectively leave out things that may benefit you in order to lowball your case. Now, before you start any negotiations, you want to make sure you demand a copy of your statement. You're entitled to it. If they refuse or there's a delay in providing that statement to you, then they're probably hiding something that they know is not going to benefit them. Once you've got a copy of the statement, make sure you read it thoroughly and outline any important points that you're going to use it to make when it comes to negotiations. And if there are any points later on that the adjuster tries to bring up from your recorded statement, you will then take that, pull up your statement, and find out what the context of it is to ensure that they're not taking anything out of context. Question number 2, what specific tools and factors did you use to calculate the value of my case? Now, here's why they hate this question. Most insurance companies rely on outdated software and other lowball formulas to come up with the value of cases. It's a very overbroad and general way of valuing cases, and most of the time it actually ends up missing the mark. The thing is, it's strategically designed to lowball cases and save the insurance company's money. By asking this question, you force them to reveal the source of their settlement valuation so that you can then contest it later on. Now, as a follow-up to this question, you're going to want to make sure you have them itemize every single portion of the settlement. They like to lump it all together into one sum and don't really explain where each item of damage fits into the total settlement. Now, you will definitely get pushback on this because adjusters do not like splitting things up and showing you where the calculations are, because by doing that, they're opening themselves up to your negotiation strategy and picking apart the different parts of their valuation. If you see that they offered you less than what your medical bills are worth, then you can get into that and start to ask them why, what happened there, where are you getting these numbers from, who provided the valuation for my medical bills. And you get to do that with every single factor and point that was considered as part of your settlement valuation. Now, if they refuse to provide you with that information, then they probably know that the number they came up with is ridiculous and doesn't really have any sort of substantiation. This one's a little bit more difficult to utilize when just negotiating, but if they do provide you with the information, it gives you a lot more to work with. If they refuse to provide you with the information, you can still use that as a point of leverage with them, but if that doesn't work out for you, then you'll probably be left filing a lawsuit. All right, question number 3, what are the full insurance policy limits available under the policy? Now, here's why they hate this question. They don't want you to know how much money is available to you. At the end of the day, they're hoping you settle for way less than what the actual coverage amount is, because if they do that, then they're winning. They're saving their company money, and they're usually bonused on the amount that they save when it comes to the insurance coverage. This is a question you want to ask early on in the case so that you know exactly what it is that you're working with, so that you can ensure that you get all the medical treatment you possibly can within those coverage limits to make sure that you're protected. If you're not in a state that forces the disclosure of written policy limits, then you may be required to file a lawsuit in court to get the insurance company to reveal the amount of coverage under the policy. Now, a hot tip here is there are some companies, some investigators that claim to be able to get policy limits information in states that don't disclose, but again, that information can be hit or miss, so do with that what you will. All right, question number 4. Why are you saying my medical treatment was unnecessary or excessive? This is a very common argument used by insurance companies to minimize the value of the medical bills that you're presenting so that they can pay you less. A good follow-up to this question is asking, how did you determine my treatment was unnecessary or excessive? Ask them if they have medical degrees or certifications, or whether they can even decide whether treatment is medically necessary or not. By doing this, you undermine their arguments that they make regarding the value of your medical bills, because as an insurance adjuster, most often they're probably not going to have those medical designations or that medical training to be able to say, yeah, we don't think this was medically necessary. Now, to defeat this, you want to make sure you have a really, really strong doctor on your side that can provide really detailed medical records about your condition to ensure that you're protected in the event that you have to litigate the case. Again, this also provides you with additional leverage when it comes to the negotiations. All right, question number 5. What is the deadline to accept this offer, and what happens if I don't accept? Insurance companies love to put pressure on people and say, hey, this is a one-time offer, take it or leave it. You got to take it right now or you're never going to get another opportunity again later on down the line. What they're hoping for is that people panic and just take whatever it is that's on the table so that they can walk away scot-free. A neat trick when you get a lowball offer like that or a low offer is to say, you know what, I need some time to consider it. I'm actually going to go consult with an attorney. 9 times out of 10, they'll probably come back to you and say, whoa, never mind. We were just kidding. We're going to actually offer you a little bit more than we initially offered you if you don't seek legal advice. And that right there is a pretty good sneak peek into the playbook of the insurance companies. A lawyer is seen as a risk. It's something that adds additional pressure to them and they don't want anything to do with it. So that's something you can definitely utilize when it comes to negotiating the value of your case. Now, question 6 is an odd one, but it can be a good one in certain circumstances. Question 6 is, can you show me a copy of the recorded statement of your insured? Now, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not going to provide you with the statement because it probably hurts their position. And if you're in a case where liability is unclear, or maybe you're dealing with a defendant that was really rude or just a bad defendant in the case, then getting your hands on a copy of the recorded statement or eventually later on doing a deposition of that defendant can be really beneficial to you. But on the flip side, if you do get the statement from the insurance company and they willingly hand it over, then you know there's probably something to be concerned about here when it comes to your case. If they willingly hand something over, it's because they know it's going to benefit them. And so in a case like that, what I would suggest is taking that to a lawyer and having them evaluate the entire situation to see if it's even worth continuing. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to refuse to provide you with that statement. So it's kind of a confirmation that you're on the right track and that if you want more information, it's probably best for you to file a lawsuit and get that information through discovery. All right, question 7 is, have you conducted a liability investigation? And if so, can I see the report? Now, again, this is one of those where they're probably not going to hand over the evidence, but what it'll tell you is this. If you're in a situation where liability maybe isn't clear and they still refuse to provide you with that written evidence of that report, then you know you probably have a favorable position. If they decide to willingly hand over the report and all their investigative material, then you might have a little bit more of a problem on your hands. All right, question number 8. Are you reducing the value of my case based on any sort of pre-existing conditions that you think I might have? Again, this is in line with the previous questions where we're getting the insurance adjuster to break down their evaluation. If we can show that they're relying on false information or they're utilizing legal arguments that won't hold up in court, that can really benefit you when it comes to negotiating the value of your case. It also shows that you know what you're doing. Now, with this particular point regarding pre-existing conditions, a lot of states have laws that protect people that have already been suffering from some sort of injury prior to an incident that aggravates that pre-existing condition. Now, what that essentially means is that even though you might have neck pain or back pain already going into a car accident, if that car accident makes your pain worse, you are still protected and are able to recover for that aggravation of that injury. Now, the key when it comes to these types of cases and making sure that you have really, really solid medical documentation that highlights that this is an aggravation of your pre-existing condition, that the aggravation was caused by the car accident. All right, question number 9. What discounts or adjustments have you already applied to my case? Again, this is in line with the previous questions that we've talked about. We want to understand the basis for the adjuster's evaluation. The more information you have, the more power you have. Now, most often you'll see these discounts or adjustments applied to your medical bills. These insurance companies never want to pay the full value of your medical bills, even though you're legally responsible to pay them. If they've discounted your medical bills, you need to ask them for that proof that they've done it, and then ask them for the basis for which they reduced those medical bills. Ask how they came to those numbers. How did they decide to discount this bill by this amount and the other bill by another amount? Did they rely on an expert in the field to do that, or did they just make up the numbers themselves? Again, having that overall understanding of the adjuster's evaluation is going to help you tremendously when it comes to negotiating the value of your case. All right, and finally, question 10 is, if I reject this offer, will you be sending me another one? Now, it kind of goes without saying, but this is the insurance company's game. Most times they have more room above the first offer that they've made. In most cases, they do have room to negotiate. And if they say no to this question, it makes them look really bad later when they offer up more money. Now, the way to utilize this is to keep rejecting offers until they've told you they've reached their top. And even once they get to that point, there's probably a little bit more that you can get. Keep pushing until you feel like you've been fairly compensated for what you've gone through. And if you don't know what that is, then consult with a professional. We just covered the 10 questions that insurance companies absolutely hate when you ask after a car accident. But have you ever wondered how it is that car insurance claims actually work? In this next video, I break down the entire car insurance claims process so that you have the advantage when it comes to negotiating your case. We'll see you there.